Hey guys, Joe here, bringing you another vlog. It's really good, a really good show that everyone loves, SpongeBob. Yes, SpongeBob. It's a show that pretty much everyone I know grew up with, unless they didn't have cable. And even then, everyone knows what SpongeBob is. It's something so apparent in our society, and it's something that really stands out to everyone, and everyone has an opinion on it, and everyone knows what it is. It's kind of like The Simpsons or like Super Mario. It's part of the social subconscious that everyone knows about. You say SpongeBob, someone's gonna have a reaction. I don't know anyone who would go like, "What's SpongeBob?" You know. And what made SpongeBob so good was the fact that it appealed to every audience. I know I'm kind of just went into this, but this is going to segue into something else. Um, and so just stick with me here. But it really appealed to the widest possible audience. It was a kids show, and that's really apparent. But it was also a show that was secretly for adults, just like Disney does it when it's childish and it has childish jokes and childish ideas, but underlying it is stuff that everyone can enjoy. And it's SpongeBob had a lot of dark humor. It had a lot of really adult humor that kids wouldn't pick up on. And if you watch old SpongeBob's, you see hear jokes and you see things happening. You're like, what the hell? That was SpongeBob. That was when SpongeBob was in its prime. And every good kid show and cartoon does that. They have something. They appeal to both the older audience and the younger audience without necessarily the younger audience understanding why or understanding how it worked. Like I didn't know why my brother who was older than me liked SpongeBob when I was a wee lad watching it, but he did, and I still love the older SpongeBob's, and older SpongeBob was great. But the key word is older SpongeBob. I guess what I wanted to talk about today was how good shows or good things go bad. All good things on TV or even movie series go bad and they lose, that special charm that they had about them that everyone loved. And it happens all the time to every show that is on, in syndication unless they end it quickly. And it's happened to SpongeBob. It happened to SpongeBob, after a while. I mean, SpongeBob was really good for a long time, and I can still watch a lot of the old stuff, and I can watch all the old stuff and still think it's hilarious. And even some of the new stuff is okay. I mean, they have good jokes every once in a while, but because my little brother used to watch it all the time when we had cable, and I used to laugh at this crap like the old SpongeBob all the time because I grew up with it and I knew the jokes and there's adult humor and stuff that everyone could understand and everyone could laugh at. But as it went along, it started losing that. And this is why SpongeBob got bad. It started appealing to a more limited audience. It went from being a kids show to having good humor for adults as well to being a pure kids show, and it lost the charm that original SpongeBob had. And they just keep it going, and they keep reusing ideas from the old episodes that they think are going to be funny, but now are just really tired, and they just keep dragging it out and dragging it out and dragging it out. And now SpongeBob is scraped thin. It's not funny anymore. The characters I hate SpongeBob now. I hate the character. SpongeBob was a cool character because when he started, he was just some guy. Like, disregards the fact that he's a sponge and it's undersea. But if you think about it, SpongeBob was an adult. He had a job. He was trying to get his driver's license. He was an adult. He was just an adult that did weird things and had some childish tendencies. That's what SpongeBob was, and that's what made him funny because you knew that he was an adult and still had responsibilities and he was intelligent. It's not like SpongeBob was supposed to be an idiot. He knew what was going on. There are episodes and he like reasons things out and he's actually understands and he's a smart guy. It's not like he's stupid. But he was, it was funny because he was this way and he was an actual like adult and he had issues and stuff, and they talk about him having a job and getting paid and losing wages and stuff, but that's contrasted with the fact that he has childish tendencies and there are things about him that are really off. That was what made SpongeBob funny as a character, and especially when he's juxtaposed to Squidward, who is just who Squidward is, and Patrick. But then what they did to him was, as it went along, he became less an adult and more a child. They basically transformed him into a child. So he and Patrick aren't adults with childish tendencies. They're just children. That's essentially what the characters are now. All the Krusty Krab, it's not even like a job anymore. The Krusty Krab is just something that he goes to do to have fun. And we knew he had fun doing it before in the old episodes, but we also knew that it was his job. And they made jokes about it being his job and how he wanted to go to work and how he thought going to work was fun. And that was funny because adults don't like going to work. That was, I mean, a perfect example of that. And it was funny because it mocked that. And they just transformed the characters into childish representations of what they were originally, which killed the show. I mean, they acted like, infants all the time. And they like it really killed SpongeBob for a lot of people. All the people that I like, no one I know who grew up watching SpongeBob like SpongeBob anymore. And again, they have good jokes. There are jokes in the new SpongeBob episodes that are still funny, but it just doesn't have that charm. It doesn't have the feel. The animation's different. The joke writing's different. Um, Everything about new SpongeBob just is subpar compared to the original. The same can be said about The Simpsons. The Simpsons started out, okay. The first couple seasons were okay. It got hilarious as the show went on. Just spread out and got funnier and funnier and funnier, and then it hit a certain mark when it just stopped being funny, and it was like it slowly, gradually declined in hilarity. And it happens to all good shows. All good shows go through this. It was happening to Malcolm in the Middle, and that was still on. It's not only comedy shows. There was a cooking show I used to watch that is thankfully they ended it because it was they lost the ability to do things with the character with the show, and they were running out of things to do. And you can tell when this is happening. You go and you have these thoughts about like, hey, I love this show, and you watch an episode and a newer episode, and you just go, that wasn't as good as I remember it being. That happened with The Simpsons. All the newer Simpsons episodes I dislike. At least the ones I've seen. I have stopped watching The Simpsons, at least on air, because it's not funny anymore, and it's just childish. Again, all the characters are obscenely childish in The Simpsons. All of them. And they all have stupid character traits, too. Homer went from being, a dad who was just dumb to being someone who's mentally challenged. And that's not funny. I mean, Homer used to be a really funny character. And he went from being something that was, like, hilarious to being something that's just stupid to watch. Because he's not... Him acting mentally challenged isn't funny. It's just annoying. It happened to South Park for me, too. The beginning of South Park, I thought was hilarious. It got even funnier as it went along. South Park, it does the bell curve where it's like here, la la la, no, and it crashes. South Park was funny. It got hilarious. Then it started getting stupid again. It's like if you know your show's going on too long, and if you're running out of ideas and things to make jokes about or comment about effectively, where it's going to be funny and appeal to people, you have to stop that show because so many shows go on and just kill themselves because they drag themselves on trying to make money, thinking that they're going to be continually successful in this. I mean, The Simpsons is on what? Season 20 something? It's ridiculous. The Simpsons is not, and people allow this to happen by watching the show, despite the fact that I know a lot of people think The Simpsons is still funny. So this is just my opinion, and if you think it, don't take anything against me or the South Park or SpongeBob or whatever else it is you watch that is still on. But it's obvious the show's declining in quality. South Park, The Simpsons, SpongeBob. There's a show on Cartoon Network. If these shows are declining in quality so obviously, cancel them, end them while they're still in their prime, or end them right after their prime ends. So that way we can have it end with dignity and have it end with something fond to remember. Now I'm gonna think whenever I think of South Park, if they canceled it now, I'd go, thank God they canceled it. If they had canceled it, right as they were starting to get stinky, I would go like, okay, it's a good thing they canceled that show because it was going to get bad. That's what happened with Malcolm in the Middle. The show was hilarious. Oh my God, I loved that show. It was my favorite TV show for a long time. And right as it was starting to lose its edge, and right as it was starting to, it realized that it was running out of things to go, or places to go, and running out of jokes to make, and it knew that and decided to end it. That was good. They dragged it on a little bit, but they ended it so perfectly, and I thought that was. I'm so happy that they ended that show because I would not want to see something like Malcolm in the Middle that was such a good show be dragged out into something that was horrible, like The Simpsons is being. Um, and then there are of course shows that it happens to faster. Cartoon Network, The Misadventures of Flapjack. Again, my little brother watched it, but I still thought it was when it started. It was freaking hilarious. It was so funny, so dark, so much good humor for adults that kids wouldn't get, and it's just so much going on in that show that I thought was hilarious. My brothers, my parents, me, we all watched it. My little brother watched it for the little kid stuff, but my brother and I, we watched it because it was freaking funny. It was super dark. All my friends watched it too, but it got bad so fast. I don't know what they did, but they just lost that dark touch, that bit of humor that kept it going and kept it hilarious and kept it, appealing to the older crowd. And I don't even know if that show's still airing new episodes anymore. One show that did adult humor, not adult humor, but hilarious things for parents and older people to watch was Adventure Time with Finn and Jake. And I know that's, I mean, you just watch the opening credits and you're like, because it looks so childish and stupid. But it was so funny watching. And I don't even know if it's still going on. I don't know if the show's still running. I haven't been able to see it in a while because we don't have cable anymore at my place. So I haven't seen many episodes. And that's kind of a shame. But I hope it's still funny and I hope they still have their edge with that. Because that was a great show. There was an episode where, of course it's a kids show, so they have kids humor, and the whole thing is you're holding the children's attention by having the kids humor. But there was an episode, it was so dark and out there, and you're like, how is this on a child's TV show? This doesn't make any sense. It was a demon comes from like hell to go up into the land there, and he's like this dude in a suit. I thought that was funny. I was thinking about it today. And it's like this guy in a suit, and he's a demon from hell, and he goes around the land sucking out people's souls. I think that's hilarious. But he goes around the land there and sucking people's souls out, and to get him from hell, the main character had to like say this demonic chant or something, and the end he's like sucked out all the souls of all these things in his land they're in, and he becomes this giant demonic creature with like 4 mouths, and the main character gets his sword out, stabs it in the face, and cuts it open, like cuts it in half, and all the souls fly out everywhere, and there's like soul, and you're like, how the hell is this a kids show? This is ridiculous. But it was so hilarious, at least for me. I don't know. I mean, I have a dark sense of humor sometimes, but that's exactly the kind of thing that TV shows need to keep. At least kids TV shows, because that's what keeps them going for people. Like that's what gives them the appeal to keep them being watched. Because SpongeBob started with us, my generation, as an audience, and they've lost my generation as an audience. They might have the next generation, the generation under us, watching it, but it's not going to be the same, and it's not going to have that lasting appeal. And no, it's never going to be as funny as it used to be, and it's going to just stagnate and get worse and worse until it gets canceled. That's what happens to all good shows. I mean, The Simpsons, it's still happening to The Simpsons. I didn't watch the show, but my parents tell me this is what happened to MASH. It happened to MASH, and it used to be this hilarious show, and it just got worse and worse and worse until they finally ended it. And they start over-explaining characters, or getting backstories mixed up and screwing everything up continuity-wise and joke-wise, and reusing things and over-describing characters that used to be just a one-joke shtick, but were so funny, like Moe and this. I'm gonna talk about The Simpsons a lot because I loved The Simpsons when it was still on. But Moe and The Simpsons was this depressed bartender, and they took him and over-explained him and overused every little joke and facet about the character that made him so funny. There's episodes where okay, I'm gonna run out of time, but I mean, this is mostly just a rant. I don't think I really analyzed anything other than why some things, but I don't think I was really helpful, but I guess it's kind of funny watching me rant, maybe? I don't know. But thanks for watching. Tune in next time. Leave me a message about what you think about the shows I talked about shows you think are also going to get worse, or shows that you think could get better with time. Things to check out and stuff like that, or just what you thought about the video itself. And I'll thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.